Well, this is a video I didn't expect to be doing. So, yesterday we came back from the holidays and picked up Brody from the kennels. He was fine. He was nothing out of ordinary. Where we take him, he said he'd been great. He loves having Brody. He's a bit unsettled on the first night, like as always, but then as he gets into the routine, he says he's a bundle of joy to have. And we brought him home. I washed him up. We gave him his foods, and then he went outside, and I noticed him. He must look like he was going to be sick, but nothing was coming up. And I just thought maybe he's ate too quick, or shepherds are notorious for having a really, unsettling, sensitive stomachs. And he was whining a lot. I mean, Brody, even when he hurts himself, like he never whines at all whatsoever. So I knew something was up. And then when I felt the side of his stomach, each side was like quite tough, quite hard, and he just kept crying. I thought, we initially thought he may have just been bloated, like trapped wind or something. But the more he came in, he just kept pacing. Couldn't get settled. In these situations you think, are you overreacting? And I just thought, you know what, I'd rather be overly cautious than risk this. So we rang up an emergency vet, took him straight up there. She examined him, did an ultrasound and an x-ray, and she said it can either be because it was quite inflamed and expanded, his stomach was, but also his spleen. She says, best case scenario, this could just be, like you say, trapped wind, but she says, what I'm looking at here, it's either he's got a tumour on his spleen, or his stomach's flipped. And I did some research as they went in for the ultrasound and the x-ray, and it turns out if the stomach has flipped, it can sometimes take the spleen with it. I didn't know this, but dogs can live without a spleen. It's not essential, they don't need it. So she did her x-ray and got the results, and she come back and she said his stomach had flipped and she needs to take him into the operating room straight away. And and all this is going on really quick, and she's coming out saying obviously he's Brody's 6 now, and the anaesthetic, he could die from it, and would you want us to do CPR? And it was just like, it was quite overwhelming to go from having such a high of an event that we went to in Spain, and then also all of a sudden we're coming back to this, and it's just happened out of nowhere. We just said, obviously, yeah, we would want you to do CPR, and she says, right, okay, I've just got to ask these questions, I've got to give you everything what can go wrong, which is pretty frightening. So she just took him in there straight away, and the operation went well, thankfully. I mean, we got a phone call at 2:30 in the morning. He's basically just got a cut, like an incision from the centre of his stomach, really, and it's about this long. So it's neat. It's not, doesn't look a mess, but the operation was a success, thankfully. And I just wanted to do this video really just to really spread some awareness and just give you an update on Brody. And just, it's called GDV, and I didn't even know what this thing was. I've never even heard of it before in my life. I know people who've had shepherds, but apparently it's notorious in bigger dogs when they've got a bigger rib cage. Apparently there's more movement for things for this to happen, basically. And the operation, she said, it will benefit you because I'll put everything correct, and I'll also stitch it to his actual side, so then it won't go again, to prevent it from happening. But you almost start kind of, taking steps back, and thinking, is it something that I did wrong? And she just said, it can be he's ate his food too quick, he's moved around too fast, but he didn't do any of those things. The only thing I will say to anyone that's watching this, just to spread any awareness, is that with your dogs, don't feed them massive meals, make them a bit smaller. I mean, we feed Brody twice a day, but probably one thing that we could do is maybe get him one of those feeding bowls where it makes him slow down, because he has a bit of a pig, he does eat it a bit fast. But I think some dogs are just like that, it's it's naturally in them, isn't it? When they see food, they just eat it as quick as possible. And when you're panicking like that, you don't know what to do. Because one thing she did say to me, she says, it's lucky that you've acted and haven't just thought it was trap wind and left him to it in the morning, because if you had have done that, you'd be looking at something completely different now. Because what it can actually do is, when the stomach flips, it can cut off circulation, and then a part of the stomach can die because it's been in that abnormal position for so long. She said you've done the right thing just by coming up here straight away, but people just put it off, and then before you know it, you're leading on to other things. And one indicator that I checked as well, what she told me, is checking the gums and making sure that they are still pink, because if they start going really pale and blue, that's another bad sign. So I pressed on his gums and it came back to like his normal colour pretty soon, like, almost like when you push on your skin when you've been sunburnt type thing. She says if it just comes back to his normal colour, that's a good sign. It means that you're in the early stages of what could progressively get worse, well, it would have got worse. Last night when it was happening, I thought, I'm not going to think the worst. I kind of knew what had happened, and I just had a feeling it wasn't just trap wind. I knew it wasn't going to be cancer. I just knew I had this gut feeling, but I knew he'd flipped his stomach. I just had this feeling, and I thought to just try and manifest something positive out of this, I'm going to make a video of Brody being at home and the start of his recovery. And I'm thankful to say that I'm making this video. He'll be back fit and well, doing what he loves. And one thing for certain, it's going to make me do is a hell of a lot more camping trips now. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of us, a lot more from the channel. Brody's going to be the star character as always. So appreciate you guys for watching. And that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe, leave any comments. If there's anything you want to ask me, please do not hesitate to ask me. I'm just hoping that I've got everything in this video that I wanted to share, just so you can put every measure in place so it doesn't happen to your dog. Then I want to spread the word of this as much as I possibly can. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.